A server spilled hot coffee all over my daughter and Harley, our service dog, when we were at lunch one day on vacation. Thankfully, everyone is okay. It was neither the server's fault nor our fault. It was the fault of someone else who wasn't even there, and it's a lesson for everyone. My daughter and I were seated across from each other on the end of a long table, and Harley was tucked in perfectly between our feet, facing out. This is the perfect position because, depending on the space under the table or next to it, Harley can easily check the food and then tuck down under again. She's so discreet that you don't know she's there. If we walk out of a restaurant and people notice her for the first time, we did a good job. The server took drink orders in the middle of the long table, but she brought the drinks in on my daughter's side from the end where Harley was tucked. So when she took the order, she didn't know Harley was there. When she came back with a full tray, she started to lean in. I could see it had coffee, and I said, "We can help you pass the drinks." It was at that point that she saw Harley for the first time, and she startled, and the coffee spilled on my daughter and Harley. My daughter had nowhere to go. It was right over her shoulder. Thankfully, she was still wearing her ski jacket, so she didn't feel it. I started to see it happening in slow motion and pulled Harley back. It still got on her paws and neck and ears and face. Her vest prevented it from getting on her body. The floor where she was tucked was wet everywhere. So yes, very upsetting and startling at first. We cleaned everyone up. There were a ton of apologies. The server felt awful. The manager cleaned up the floor and brought over some dry towels for Harley, and I placed Harley on the towels for the rest of lunch. So while I was crouched down and cleaning Harley up, the server was talking to my mom, who was in the middle of the table. When I got back up to the table and sat down, my mom told me what the server said. Recently, and coincidentally at the table right behind ours, she was serving a couple with a white dog in a service dog vest. And the dog came out from under the table and bit her on the arm. They threw down $20 and got up and left. She's since terrified of dogs, and when she saw Harley, a white dog in a service dog vest, she got startled. So who's at fault here? It's not the server. It's not us. It's the people with the fake service dog. Not only did they cause harm to someone who was just doing her job, they've affected us as well. Slapping on a vest that says service dog to take your dog wherever you want doesn't make it a service dog. The ADA defines a service animal as, and I quote, dogs that are individually trained to do work or perform tasks for people with disabilities. And a service animal must be under the control of its handler. So service animals have to be, number one, task trained for the disability, and number two, have proper public access behavior, which requires a ton of training as well. We explained to the server and manager that that dog was not a real service dog and she doesn't need to be afraid of Harley. Harley was literally lying there like this the entire time, not a peep out of her. The server was so traumatized by the experience with the other dog that she wouldn't get near Harley. I told the server and the manager that if a dog ever walks in with a service dog vest, you can ask them 2 questions. Number 1, is that a service dog? And number 2, what work or task has the dog been trained to perform? Look, we were in a very dog-friendly area, and I knew before we left for this trip that we would have extra distractions because of it. It's not a big deal if the place is dog-friendly and the dogs are well-behaved. But I can't tell you how many times we were sitting in the lobby area of the hotel, other dogs were there too, and then some dogs would walk by and there would be barking. Who wants to listen to that? Harley got barked at multiple times. If your dog is going to bark at other dogs, then maybe they're not so dog-friendly, and they're better off at home where they're comfortable and safe. We have another dog, Joey, who is extremely well behaved with people and dogs, and as much as it pains me to, I still choose to have him stay home because he is not a task-trained service dog, he is older, and that is the safest and most comfortable place for him. And if your dog is going to lunge at people and bite them, they shouldn't be out in public, period. And in either situation, if they're not a service dog, they shouldn't be wearing a service dog vest and try to be passed off as one. People and real service dogs can and do get hurt by that. Thankfully, everyone is okay now. Harley smells like coffee, which, as much as I like coffee, coffee and dog don't go well together. So she's having a bath this week and we'll start off the new year fresh. Take care and have a happy and healthy new year.